Hey, John from Mountain Biker Products here. It's Saturday morning. Got a few letters this week. Let's take a look at a couple of them real quick. See one here from Jeffrey. He says, see if I can flip this around to read it. Let's see, to cut it short. I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest. Had my first ride with Darkmatter, and it was probably one of the smoothest. Probably one of the smoothest that my chain has ever run. I am sold and will follow your recommended regimen. I wish I would have kept the original caps, as the squeeze cap doesn't seal as well. Well, it's okay. I leave mine out all summer long in the shed right outside the door, and it's fine. And and I know now that these are alcohol based. So he did reorder. He says, planning on ordering some Uber Clear this week. So he wanted to get the Uber Clear with his Darkmatter. I did send him some extra caps to cap it off for long-term storage. So yeah, keep your shipping caps in case you're going to travel. When you go up into the mountains from, like, say, sea level, the bottles will expand and then it might pop that red tip off. It's a good idea just to throw it in a Ziploc bag as well. And I got another letter here. Let's see, I'm not sure if you're in Fillmore or Box Canyon. I used to ride in Box Canyon to go into Simi Valley from Van Nuys. Now I live in Tucson where the riding is incredible. I apologize for the long opening. I just started using your lube. Incredible. My sprocket and chain after 300 miles still look like the bike is just out of the showroom floor. I will let my local shop know about your product as well as my brethren's. That's awesome. That's from Hugh in Tucson. And this is the typical experience when you try my product against everything else that's out there. So these are the three that started it all, and then now we have the 5311 product, which is right here. This is the ultimate perfection for your everyday pedal bike, and just show you where it kind of started here. Here's GMBN at my booth. That's me up in the corner, and then here they are learning about my brush technique, and you can see they were very interested in it. What's this guy's name? Dottie, right here with the T-shirt on. He said this is a really good idea. He held the brush up between my face and his face, and he said, "This is a great idea." And I said, "Yes, it is." And they spent a half hour filming, and they didn't do anything with the video, unfortunately. I called them, I contacted them about advertising for me. What would it cost? No reply. Zero. So shortly after Seattle released these two, and that's the Formula 1.2 and the Lubin Schleiden bike park formula. Now this is the one that the dust passes through the chain, and the Formula 1.2 has a slightly higher build to it with a little extra in it for everyday riding. And that's sort of the one I pushed at first while I was developing 5311. A lot of people did reviews on this. A lot of people didn't understand to season the chain with it a couple of times, and so this is a little different. I explain that to everybody, but because I'm the inventor, they don't believe me. I believe that's the case. Let's just see what I put there on the notes. This is off my Instagram page, way in the back in the wet or dry conditions. Yes, it works well in your average wet conditions, especially for regular bikes. Not, if you're mud womping a mountain bike, you're going to need something more heavy duty in my line. Easy to apply, easy to clean, extends drivetrain life. Smooth and quiet in all conditions, stays super clean. So that goes across the board with all the products now. And as you go up the line, they handle the wet much better for longer durations. So in both these cases, I picked one letter from a 5311 customer in Arizona, and then the other letter is from a guy up in the Pacific Northwest with the Darkmatter in those conditions up there. In both cases, they used the Smooth Lube original formula, which is now the chain prep formula. We have the word chain prep formula across the top there now. In both cases, they prepared the chain properly and got immediate results. Instant broken in chain, instantly removed whatever product they were using before, whether it's the factory packing grease for on the bike conversion or their existing chain lube. This will prepare the chain to have the proper bonding of the Darkmatter or the 5311 or the Formula 1.2, or whichever one you pick for what you're doing. This is key to fast tracking the what we call the seasoning of the chain, where the product becomes part of the chain, so to speak. Any contamination that's in the chain, whether it's other chain lube or the factory packing grease or just dirt from your last ride, will prevent that from giving it a 100% coating to all the surfaces inside and the bonding that happens. So this product used as the chain prep formula, which I developed close to 4 years ago now, the chain prep formula technique, and reformulated it slightly since the beginning. It's gone through about 3 slight changes since before Sea Otter, because I ran it my way for 2 years. Then I upped it up for Sea Otter, and then I've upped it twice since then. So it's now a chain prep formula primarily, and you can use it as a top off as well still for your waxed coated drivetrains. So this would be on par with like the super secret stuff that they've sort of mimicked this product as a top off for their wax pots. And a lot of people have gone this route now with product to try to top off a wax dip chain. So we introduced this to the public in spring of 2019, had the brush there showing the brush technique. You can see he's got it in his hand. It didn't have the little blue brushes yet. That's just a very expensive artist brush. I bought a lot of those, was handing those out, and yeah. So, and eventually went to the toothbrush, and then 3 toothbrushes put together, and then now we have our 3-headed brush, which right here under all products, there's our 3-headed brush, and you can see it's got a nice bend to it. Now we've added the little zip tie to it. You can adjust the tension along the length of it there to keep the bristles. Here's a good picture of the front of the bristles here. Oh, it's not letting me do that, is it? You can see the 3 heads come together there, and the tension can get loose. So I got a little band on there now to you can set it where it holds the side bristles perfect to the chain. And it does the same job, as the paintbrush back in the beginning, but it does clean up the sides a little quicker. And when you're pushing pressure on the side of your chain while you're back spinning your pedals, it can knock the chain off the cog you're on. So that's mainly a good reason all in itself to buy a 3-headed brush. But each bottle does come with a paintbrush. They each come with one to push it into the rollers from the top down, and then you can clean up anything off your jockey wheels with it as well. But you can also use a toothbrush. Toothbrush works a little bit better sometimes. So I want to talk about the different reviews now. Old guy in a bike channel. This is Granny Gears. His name as a mountain bike journalist for over 20 or maybe 25 years now, and I want to talk about what he took me on the first time I think I met him.
Train on it runs smooth and clean.
So this is his 6-year review he did last month of the product. He's talking about particularly the 5311, although we have used the 1.2 in the beginning when I met him. And I want to talk briefly about the ride he took me on when I met him to test side by side the 1.2 on both of our bikes on one of the hardest trails in his area.
Well, I'm trying to find the trail we went on Strava, and boy, you know what? They've changed it so much. This app used to be so great. It really sucks now. Not only did it take me 20 minutes to log on, but it doesn't even show any of the routes, and I'm on the bikes. It just wants to sell me stuff, and it's got stuff on the screen. It won't go away. I just want to see the route we went on. Guys, just delete your Strava account. These people are creeps. This is horrible, horrible business practices. And this is why I stopped using them probably five years ago, maybe more. I can't even see the routes here. I'm trying to see Fish Canyon. Let me see if I can find it on all trails. Now, this is a very difficult trail to find. And this was one of Granny Gear's home trails. And at the time I did it, there was only 24 Strava attempts ever done. Now, this is one of his secret trails that I believe that might be it there. No, that's not it. But what it was you went through along this stream. I think that's the stream we rode up. Okay, so we're basically riding in and out of a stream for about 5 miles. And right at the end, before we did this huge climb, and I'm trying to find it here. This might be it here. Just doesn't look familiar. Pretty good at remembering these things. There it is. There's the campground. So you pass through this campground. Okay, now this is a stream that continues all the way from where we parked, somewhere over here at the end of this road. That's where we parked. We rode up this stream, and then we went up this climb called the Fish Canyon Trail. There it is. Now this right here is a sand climb to the top, okay, that's 10 miles of constant climbing in about, I'd say it was about an inch of fluff on average. Sometimes it got worse. It was literally the hardest ride you could put a chain loop through. And this was Granny Gear's, this is Old Guy in the Bike channel, okay? I'll show you. So this was the first ride he took me on to test my product with me there and test me to see if I was legit, if I could even handle this ride. This is not a ride for any amateur, that's for sure. It was brutal. It was a brutal ride, but I was actually in really good shape at the time. And I think he was pretty surprised that I made it. I took my Yeti SB 4.5 with a 2.4 rear tire on it and was able to handle it. He was on a what do you call it? A plus bike. He had plus tires on his Santa Cruz. Not sure which make it was. I think it was a tall boy, but it was a plus tall boy. I think is what it was. But I think that's the route there. And the descent was fun. It was 10 miles of this fire road with very loose conditions, and it took quite a bit of skill just to go down it, to not, you know, to make all the turns and not, you know, and go at a decent speed. But the point of me bringing this up was the stream. We were crossing the stream probably 30, 40 times, sometimes just riding in the stream. And at some point, one of us got sand in our chain. I don't remember if it was me or him now. And I had a water bottle on my pack, and I said, watch this. We ran the chain with the water bottle. Somehow a piece of sand actually got caught into the rollers. We were able to get it removed within 10 seconds. And for the rest of the ride, it was totally silent. And I wish I could have him verify this, you know, on this video. But it was probably the toughest blind trail ride I've ever gone on. And when we got to the top, there's like a radio tower up there. And I believe that's it. I think this, oh, that's the climb here. And at some point it stops at a tower up here. There it is. So that's exactly it. Up here there's a radio tower. And let's see what they call that. Warm Springs Mountain. Okay. So this is the Warm Springs Divide Truck Trail. And that is 10 miles of just, you wouldn't believe how hard it was. So we were both running the 1.2 on that ride, and from there I developed it further. This was probably the first iteration of 1.2 on that ride, summer of 2019 or so. Maybe it was closer to fall, but yeah, I'm not able to go onto Strava to find my ride I did with him, unfortunately. Strava's, it's unrecognizable to me now from what it used to be. So yeah, so the 1.2 had gone through its paces, and there's a guy. Well, here's a guy that during this development of 1.2, I sent it to his friend on the East Coast named Guitar Ted. Now, Guitar Ted was given specific instructions to season the chain, and what he did in his review was he put it on top of his old stuff, went on a ride, and don't even know if he let it dry. But it wasn't bonded, and he said it washed off immediately. He said, well, so Ted, you need to follow the instructions. And he sort of ranted that the instructions were too tedious for him. I said, well, then I guess the product's not for you. But he continued to slam my product online for a while, even though he didn't properly apply it and didn't. And then after his first ride, where he put it on top of the old stuff, or cleaned the chain but didn't do it properly, he stripped the chain again, tried it again, and said, yeah, I tried it twice, it failed. Well, you're supposed to build up the product in your chain over time and season the chain, and this wasn't given to him to do a review. This was given to him to try it in his conditions and let me know, after applying it correctly, how well it did. He didn't do any of that. He went straight to his blog and slam my product. So completely didn't follow the directions at all. Washed it off after the first ride, stripped the chain, did it again, and didn't season the chain, and took it on a mud ride on a gravel bike. I said, well, if you're going to take it in those kind of conditions, you need to season the chain at least 3 or 4 rides first. But the 5311 is sort of what has gotten around that. So if you're going to take it on extreme crazy conditions like that, you're going to want to go with 5311 or even Darkmatter or even Uber Clear. So there it is, the Fish Canyon Trail Stake. Trail Forks won't let me go on unless I log in. Well, too much trouble trying to log on to all these, that's for sure. So here's some pictures. It's sort of mixed in with another Fish Canyon trail, but basically this is a broken road to the campsite, which is shut down, and you had to cross this constantly, back and forth and back and forth. This is where you park, it looks like, with the guardrail there, and then the trail kind of goes across here and then up into this canyon and then up the top of this mountain over here. And that's a 10-mile constant. And here's a better view of it. I think that's might be where you park so you park here at the end. I don't know. It's hard. It's not very detailed, but it was a very interesting ride. I went back one time on my own after that to test a product. I don't remember. I think it was the 5311. This looks like it's the fire road leading up to that broken road to the campground here. And this is the situation you run into. You have to really figure a way across all these. I actually remember skipping across flat rocks like that, and actually making most of these crossings. You can see how the road is just gone. And there's another picture here of what we were encountering. So you're constantly going in the water, into sand, into fluffy dirt at the end. And the reason I'm showing it was actually, this canyon was actually a very, very beautiful ride. You felt like you were in a different state. You didn't feel like you were in California at all. So like I said, it was a very interesting ride. If you live in Southern California, you probably have never even heard of this one, and I would suggest put it on your list of things to do. You'll be surprised at just how different it is from anything else in Southern California. The water is flowing there all year round. It was really very, very surprising. We had the big rains in 2018, and so in late 2019, the water was still flowing. It was much of a surprise. But some of the rock formations, I've never seen anything like it before. So anyway, I wanted to throw that on a suggestion list to give it a try if you're in town here. And so the point of me going over all this is that this was the first iteration of Formula 1.2 here on that ride.
This is what I sent to Guitar Ted back east to have him run it in his conditions and give me feedback, which I never got any feedback other than stumbled upon his review. And I said, Ted, I didn't ask you to do a review of the product. The product's still in development. So it was really unfortunate, and I don't know what his problem is. Seems like he had a personal beef with me. I'm a guitar player too, and I don't know. I have no idea. But the bottom line is since that time in 2019, this product has been further refined at least one more time, and I think it's gone through 2 upgrades since then. So there's been I can't talk about it, but the upgrades that were done to it helped it become even quieter and withstand the water and sand and mud even more. So the point is, this product here at $14.99 retail is a great product for most people. If you consider yourself a casual rider, this might be all you would ever need. The original formulas of this withstood the Fish Canyon ride and kept going, and then it's been modified further since then. It's just under the 5311 as far as durability. So you could race with this if you wanted, but I put on this one for all drivetrains because this is basically for everybody. All your kids' bikes, if you're a casual rider, you know, and if you get into like racing, if you're a hardcore rider that does Fish Canyon rides all the time, or something that's really intense, lots of miles, you could go with the 5311, okay? Now, we didn't even use the chain prep formula back then. We were just using the product itself and applying several coats, doing several shorter rides to season the chain before you would go on these big rides. The chain prep formula in the white bottle now eliminates the seasoning process. If you go on my website, you'll still see old instructions on how to season the chain with the product itself. So if you're a casual rider, you don't need the chain prep formula. You could just buy this or the 5311 and just go from there. It'll work itself in over the course of 2 or 3 rides, and you will have a pretty good ride the first ride out of the bottle. But, you know, over time it gets better. So that's been well documented in the Old Guy in the Bike's various reviews. His printed reviews from 29er.com and ridinggravel.com are on my website as well in the download section. All right, well, I think I'll wrap it up here. This has been a long one to put all these little pieces together. I had a little bit of trouble early on. And I've actually got a lot of work to do getting bottles ready for the next batches. So big day, it's Saturday. Not going to be able to ride till later this afternoon, but that's okay. So thanks for listening, guys. Check out the 6-year review here on Old Guy in the Bike. Why is this the best wax chain lube you have never heard of is the name of it. All right, thanks a lot for listening. Leave a comment, really helps.